Good afternoon, folks, and thanks for tuning in to CastingAsWellWatcher.com. There's some really heavy rain coming in southern parts of the country today. This is the latest radar snapshot. Many parts of the southern UK are seeing some very heavy rain stretching right from the southeast of Kent all the way through to the south of the coast, and now it's starting to stretch up into northern parts of England. The Midlands too. Heavy rain here into the evening. This rain could be enough to give flooding in one or two places, especially across the eastern hills of Wales and also parts of England. And there is also a risk of winteriness. Now, if you want a more detailed outlook on tonight's flooding risk, goes literally just below this video. You will find a link to the weather aware update for tonight's risk of severe flooding in places. Do be sure to check that one out after you watch this video. Now, today we're going to have a look at the more of a long range forecast. This is the forecast from the ECMWF and also the GCS, the GFS, going out towards the 8 to 10 day period. This is going through to 22nd to 24th of May. And the big thing here is, I should mention, the ECMWF is on the left here, and the GFS is indeed on the right. The big thing here is the jet stream running well north to the UK with an area low pressure centre towards Europe that's bringing settled conditions to the southern half of the UK. This is on both moles, and with this big blocking area of high pressure out to the north of the UK, leading at north next, where we're going to see the more settled influence and warmer weather into the start of next week, with the southern parts of the UK under the more cooler influence. As I say, the risk of some thundery weather through next week in southern parts of the UK. And let's give you a bit more short-term detail then. This is the chart for today. Many parts of southern England in that rain. Many parts are actually showery, and as we go through to this evening, that rain will shunt eastward to bring a wet night overnight, flooding in places. Don't forget to check out the link there for more detail. And as we go through towards tomorrow, it hangs around in northern eastern parts of the country. Elsewhere, showery, brighter spells, top temperatures between 5 and 15 degrees Celsius, feeling cool once again. And then into tomorrow evening, we keep the northwesterly flow. We keep the showery conditions, and eastern parts of the country seeing the cooler conditions overnight. Here we could see a ground frost. Most western parts of the country escaping that frost, and winds can be light too. And into Thursday, we will keep the showery influence, especially across western parts of the country. And then we develop this more widespread risk of perhaps some thundery showers across many parts of the country through Thursday, perhaps some torrential downpours with hail and also thunder in places. Through towards Friday, that area of low pressure starts to show signs of moving further south, and we're all on this more easterly flow now. So into Friday, it's more of an easterly accentuated towards the showers, so eastern coast of England, the Irish Sea coast as well. And moving through towards Friday daytime, it's eastern parts of the country that see this thunderstorm risk, but they're becoming more widespread even in western areas as we go through towards Friday. A cool easterly flow, top temperatures between 12 and 14 degrees Celsius in the south, more like 8 to 10 degrees Celsius in the north. Moving through towards Saturday, well, there is a real risk here of some very thundery weather moving in from eastern parts of the country. I will keep you updated on this, folks. So there is a real risk of some very thundery and also some extremely stormy weather moving in through the weekend, especially during the Saturday period. And this continues into Sunday, and on Sunday morning, the GFS wants to actually put this low pressure across southern parts of the country with very strong winds wrapping around it. As we go through towards Monday, there's just a hint here of perhaps further showers coming in on a keen easterly wind, and that easterly wind continues into the week ahead with further outbreaks of rain. Although do notice that northern parts of the country are becoming drier, as we saw on the charts earlier. This is where we're up to with the total rainfall as of today, going out towards next week, the start of next week. Notice how it's northwestern parts of the country that were in the least rainfall, with southern areas, remember, closer towards that trough, seeing that heavy rainfall. Most of this falling through tonight, but also some of this coming through the weekend. Let's just run you through the synoptics from the ECMWF then. Sorry about that cough there. This is for today. Low pressure to north of the UK, stormy conditions there, quite gusty as well. If we move through towards tomorrow, what happens is we keep low pressure, we start to break up, keep the showers, and then to the weekend, that easterly flow, that risk of thundery weather on Sunday and Saturday. And as we move through towards next week, notice how high pressure starts to build in from the north, so becoming settled here. Still keeping the showers into the start of next week before becoming more settled towards the middle part of next week through towards the bank holiday period. Let's have a look at the GM. That was the ECMWF before. This is the GEM forecast, the Canadian model, and we're starting to get support from the latest release of the GEM. See what happens with the higher pressure starting to reach into western parts of the country, building in warmer conditions across the west. Always in south and eastern parts of the country that are more at risk, particularly southwestern parts of the country that are more at risk of the outbreaks of rain through next week. This is the forecast from the GFS Ensemble, and this is going out towards next Tuesday. Notice how low pressure is to the south of the country. So even to the start of next week, I think it's southern parts of the country, especially the south and west of the country, that are up for the thundery showers. It's north that stay dry. As we go through towards the latter stages of next week, into the middle of next week, high pressure starts to become more of a dominating influence from the west. We start to build in pressure at 1,020 millibars, and that continues to build through towards the holiday weekend. Just the signs of more westerly flow across northern parts of the country, I think we will find in Scotland next week. that we see more settled conditions, but most of England will also become dry into the end of next week, and we also see the more high pressure building, especially towards Bank Holiday weekend. But there is a suggestion here that northern parts of the country are stuck in the rain and the cloud, but many central parts are dry after the early rainfall of next weekend, and also after this week's unsettled weather. Just to give you a bit more of the indication of where things are going, well, this is for this week just here, and this is the low temperatures and also the settled weather. As we go through towards the weekend, notice that we get heavy rain across London, and then to next week we sort of build temperatures up, but we keep areas of rain, especially I think in southern areas, so south staying unsettled for next week, but always keeping some rain, but becoming lighter. Temperatures do start to pick up too, so I think to next week we will see thunderstorms in some parts of the country. Looking a bit further north, and this is for Glasgow, and notice that we do keep this trend in temperature rising upwards. You do remember that I did say at the start of the month that temperatures were going to rise from about the 19th, 20th, so that still looks to be on course, with precipitation dropping off, especially in northern parts of the country, but again the south staying in the more settled zone, as we saw from the GFS and ECMWF comparison charts 8-day mean 500 millibar. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. Do spread the word about Castings Weather Watcher. You will be supporting our site. Thanks very much if you do that. And just to summarise this forecast then, well, southern parts of the country that we see unsettled conditions next week, it does look as though we're in for unsettled week this week with areas of rain, and it does look as though we could see some sunny weather through the weekend, especially across southern and eastern parts of the country. And then through next week, it looks like the southern parts of the country remain in the unsettled conditions, but we start to build high pressure from the north, and that sinks south probably bring a decent end to next week with temperatures starting to pick up. So thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to check out the weather aware page, particularly for those of you living in the North East Midlands, parts of Northern England and also Wales as well.